So welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're taking a look at Celsius as they enter Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Going to go through what this is, what it means, some of the bad things that Celsius have done, which have been undiscovered during this process, and also looking forward to a potential plan from Simon Dixon. So a bit more color on exactly what he's proposing now. Previously, we thought about the Bitfinex route, but he's recently kind of adjusted his speak on this, and we're going to go through exactly what that means right now, utilizing some of Celsius's key assets. But first and foremost, what is Chapter 11 bankruptcy? Of course, you hear the word bankruptcy and you think the worst. But Chapter 11 is a type of bankruptcy that is actually seen as a reorganization form of bankruptcy. So this actually allows the company to continue operating. So this is the blurb we've got here from uscourts.gov. So as this is a US proceeding, it's important to look at the US status on this. If this was in the UK, it would be a whole different ball game. But this is US, so it says this: usually the debtor remains in possession and has the powers and duties of a trustee. The debtor in this situation, clearly Celsius. As a result, they may continue to operate its business and may, with court approval, borrow new money. So these are things that are on the table. Then secondary, a plan of reorganization is then proposed. Creditors, i.e. those who have money on the platform, those are the depositors, whose rights are affected, may vote on the plan. And the plan may be confirmed by the court if it gets the required votes and satisfies certain legal requirements. So there is going to be a point potentially here where we, as depositors of Celsius, get to vote on the best solution forward, i.e. which proposal do we think is best. Not sure how exactly that will occur, but that does mean there will be some rights for depositors as they are the main creditors in this situation. So hopefully that clarifies some of the legal speak around this situation here, and it is not all doom and gloom like many are posting about. So Celsius posted this on July 14th after announcing Chapter 11. So essentially most of this is a reiteration of what I've just said and quite a bit of legal speak, and they don't give away too many details. But interestingly enough, down here, point 4, what does the future hold? Our intention is for this process to maximize value for all stakeholders. It is also our goal to position Celsius to emerge as a stronger company. Now this, in my opinion, may be them trying to save face, but it's my opinion that they have lost all credibility and the company itself can no longer function. They have probably broken laws along the way here as well in terms of what they were saying on the AMAs on a weekly basis, what Alex was saying, how they're generating, risk-free almost income, not taking any risky steps. It's all come out now. They were taking huge risks and even trading with user funds, which we'll get into. So Celsius to emerge as a stronger company, I think that is some pie in the sky talk right now. And even this statement from Mashinsky in here is either just the legal team putting forward a statement, trying to show some resolve maybe, or he's absolutely off his head. So this is the quote from Alex: "We will see this as a defining moment where acting with resolve and confidence served the community and strengthened the future of the company." Now, just to reiterate, I don't believe the company in its current form with the current board has any, future credibility, and people are probably going to run from the hills if Celsius does continue to operate after this. So I think brand new board, potentially a new rebrand as well, is what is required, i.e. Simon Dixon's Bank to the Future proposal. That is where I'd prefer things to go. So if we just go back to this previous slide, number 5, when will customers be able to withdraw? So they say most account activity will be paused until further notice. Celsius is not requesting authority to allow customer withdrawals at this time. So during this Chapter 11 process, there's going to be a court date next Monday, the 18th of July. And during this, they are saying they're not requesting authority to allow customer withdrawals. Now, number 6, this is a major change because they were distributing rewards. The question here, will users continue to earn rewards through the Chapter 11 process? And it says at this time, reward accruals are paused and customers will not be receiving reward distributions. On Monday, people did receive a distribution. Whether or not that is real, whether or not that is just, a database entry, we're not sure. But going forward, it sounds like no more of those weekly Monday emails coming through for anybody. Then number 7 hopefully clears up a little bit around loans, and a lot of people have outstanding loans on Celsius. What does this mean for customer loans? Well, they say existing loans originated by Celsius affiliates will continue to be serviced, and maturity dates, margin calls, and interest payments will continue as they have in the past. So, i.e., the loans continue as per previously, but whether or not you're going to get your collateral back or not, there's some tough decisions to be made as to whether you top up any margin if required. So let's get into the headline here from Decrypt. Celsius bankruptcy filing shows 1.2 billion hole in its balance sheet. So this was posted on July 15th. Liabilities outweigh the assets by $1.2 billion, but it is seemingly a lot worse than that due to the fact some of the assets are SAL tokens. Let's jump into that in just a second. So this is a previous statement here. It's what remains of the $2 billion hole that kept FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried from wanting to do a deal with the company. So 1.2 billion short, plus another 800 million was estimated by Sam. How does he arrive at these figures? Well, if we just go down here and have a little look at the statement, you can see on the assets side of things, and we go to the SAL token. So the SAL token itself is actually listed as an asset here worth 600 million US dollars. If we add 1.2 plus 600, you get $1.8 billion, so pushing towards the 2 billion hole that Sam Bankman-Fried had seen. But why am I discounting the $600 million of SAL token? Well, it seems to be an unregistered security, A, and B, it can't be worth 600 million when the actual market cap, if it was all liquidated at current price, which is impossible, is just $300 million. So the math just does not work out for the SAL token in this equation on the balance sheet. So now moving into chapter 11, we can see some of the financials behind this. We can see some of the figures, the 1.2 billion hole, which seems to be 1.8 billion. And now famously Alex's tweet just the day before pausing all withdrawals, etc., when he said that not even one person has ever had problems withdrawing their money from the platform and then they froze things. Well, we're starting to see the picture of how bad things were. He was bigging things up, saying it was business as usual, we're profitable, we've got a huge balance sheet behind us, but now you can see that there was a lie there. So this obviously leaves a very bad taste in the mouth of anyone who invested in Celsius or deposited with them, due to the fact what they said and what they did were two different things. So it looks like a potential 2 billion hole here. Now let's have a little look at some of the bad things that did occur. So we know that Stakehound, there was a big exploit here, and Celsius actually lost some customer funds in this. They tried to, generate yield via Stakehound. So within the filings here, this is 0.93. There's just heaps and heaps of data to go through. I'm sure we could find more bad stuff in here if we want to look for it. But on the Stakehound front, there was actually a misplacement of keys. So this is obviously very bad. You go and take some Ethereum, and then you give it to Stakehound and ETH2 staking service provider, and then they misplace the private keys to over 35,000 Ethereum. Those are directly from Celsius and Celsius customers. But there may be a slight silver lining within this, due to the fact this was actually with a third-party custodian that Stakehound was using called Fireblocks. They actually sponsor Blockworks. They do adverts on them all the time. Stakehound is currently engaged in legal proceedings with Fireblocks. So whether or not there can be something rectified from that, but at the end of the day, if private keys are lost, you're not going to be able to get the crypto back. That's kind of the essence of cryptocurrency. Maybe there'll be something that comes from this, maybe there won't. But you can see some of the weird decisions that were made, to use a third party who are actually outsourcing to another third party. You're getting very far removed from your customers' funds that you're supposed to be looking after. And then 0.94 here as well, very, very bad. Moreover, to support its operations from October 2019 to February 2021, due to the lack of institutional lending available to cryptocurrency companies, the company Celsius took out collateralized term loans from a private lending platform. In July of 2021, when Celsius attempted to repay one of its loans, it was informed for the first time that the lender was unable to return the company's collateral on a timely basis, resulting in Celsius having an approximate $500 million worth of uncollateralized claim against this party after it set off its own loan obligations to the lender. So big numbers being thrown around there. Obviously, risk management going out the window. We don't know who this third party is. And this is just another piece of the puzzle of very bad risk management. Having loans out that are uncollateralized, this kind of degenerative behavior is essentially what leads to the demise of the platform. So it says as of September 2021, the lender has made regular principal payments to the company, i.e. Celsius, and continues to make those timely payments, currently in excess of $5 million per month, but the aggregate principal owed to Celsius stands at approximately $439 million, consisting of $361 million in USD and 3,765 Bitcoins worth $78 million at the time of this document. So you can see from this, there are clearly, some big outstanding debts to Celsius that if they can recoup, but clearly at $5 million per month and you're owed $440 million, it's going to take a hell of a long time for those funds to be recouped. So we can just see a little bit more color as to how bad things are behind the scenes. And then this one really is the cherry on the top, because if this was disclosed in AMAs, most people would never put their money in. So within this, they admit to swing trading. So they were literally taking users' funds and swing trading. So Document 23.81, swing trading. Similar to market making, this strategy involves Celsius holding both long and short futures positions, but with an imbalance between the amount of long and short options Celsius held. This allows Celsius to benefit from its experience being an active participant in the futures market. Since this trading activity was not market neutral, Celsius had set narrow risk limits on such activity, which were also accompanied by strict stop loss mechanisms. But it does seem they lost money via this avenue as well. Even with some, financial risk parameters, they still lost money on this. Essentially, they were trading this market as well. So this was never disclosed to anybody who deposited funds on the app. Then, as Dylan Leclerc uncovers here, the contagion rabbit hole keeps going deeper and deeper. So one of the creditors, or two of the creditors with claims against Celsius, are Pharos USD, the biggest claimant here, $81 million, and Alameda, $12.8 million. And Pharos Fund, who I'm sure no one really heard of before this statement came out, is actually run by the CEO of Alameda. So you can chalk down pretty much $90 million to Alameda and its components. They are owed a lot of money here from Celsius. So the cross-contamination and the circle jerkiness of this just continues to be uncovered by the day. Now, in terms of staying up to date with all legal proceedings, we have cases.strato.com/Celsius. It is down below for you guys, but you can see the debtors here. So the list of debtors, this is essentially the umbrella of Celsius, all the various arms here: Celsius Network LLC, Celsius Network Inc., Celsius Network Limited, Celsius KeyFi LLC. That comes back to the management of funds by OXB1 that we mentioned previously, Celsius Mining LLC, Celsius Networks Lending, Celsius Lending, and Celsius US Holding. And if we just go over here, you can see the first day of hearing will take place on Monday the 18th of July, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're lucky enough to have the Zoom invite for this one, you can listen in. So if anyone does have access to that, drop it down below once you've got it, and then we can spread it far and wide. Now, the potential silver lining here. What are the plans from Simon Dixon, Bank to the Future? What is the proposal to get Celsius maybe, under a new brand name, etc., and operating, trying to make depositors whole once again? So he says, in his opinion, the pipe dream of Alex Mashinsky is that the Celsius network Bitcoin mining operation will plug an undisclosed multi-billion-dollar hole, and regulators will play nicely. But he says, return what's left, i.e. the crypto that's on the balance sheet, use the mining for creditors, i.e. depositors, and get equity in a new vision by Bank to the Future. So someone asks for further clarification here. Simon, I'm confused. Just to be clear, and please be clear, are you stating under your proposal, so this is the proposal that's going to go forward, Are you going to return the remaining crypto to depositors, pay all Bitcoin generated from mining to the depositors over time, and you want to give depositors equity in a new company co-owned by Bank to the Future? And he states this was just a couple of hours ago. Bingo, this is the new proposal we are ironing out. Typo. The new company would merge several licensed businesses together and the assets of Celsius Network so it can get back to operating ASAP pending regulatory approval. So this is going to require a lot of I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed. You need someone who has the regulatory framework in place, and Bank to the Future have that to make this a successful transition. So all fingers crossed that Simon and his team are the ones that get a lead role in what is taking place here with the recovery over at Celsius. But unfortunately, a lot of the ball is still in Alex Mashinsky's court right now, as he is the majority shareholder. So we're really going to find out through this process whether he is on the side of his community, as he talks about so much, or not. So very interesting stuff, how this is playing out now during chapter 11. We'll get more details as they come through. And of course, on Monday the 18th, we're going to have an update as to what happened in that first day of court proceedings. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new here, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.